record. Okay, thank you. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is go to
Okay.
expmarketing.com. expmarketing.com is going to be your go-to place for listing presentations. Now, these are great springboards for you if you're super creative and if you use, I talk about it all the time, Canva. You can go into canva.com and you can create a plenty bountiful array of different type of materials, like whatever you could think of, they probably have it. And if you haven't thought about it yet, they're probably working on it. It's my favorite go-to for anything to do with marketing or branding or putting things together. That's going to be your go-to spot. You can use it. It's a platform you can use for free. There's a lot of things of documents and templates you can use that are free. They also have a paid part of the platform that you can use. It's minimal. It's about $12, $13 a month or so, I believe. You can use that as well if you want. Either way, it's a great tool. If you want to use it, it's available to you. EXP even has a collaboration with Canva, and EXP has some templates that you can use for social media through Canva that you can use their templates and incorporate your photo, your contact information into it, etc. So that's going to be one thing to consider. That is separate from that marketplace that I was talking about. So marketplace had things like flyers, content for mailers, content for farming, content, marketing assets for your listing presentations. Again, you can use it as it is, or you can use the idea of it or bits and pieces of it if you want and create your own through a platform such as Canva. Now, what else they recently just did because of the whole NAR settlement was created a buyer representation kit. And what is so amazing about that kit is it gives you a lot of talking points. So you're new, you probably don't have a lot of knowledge of talking points to begin with, which is great because this is not going to be anything that you need to learn different. Whereas myself and even Michelle have had some years in where well, she's had 5 years in and I've been in for 23 years. And I have a lot of ways I used to do things that I now have to change. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. Some of the things you're going to have conversations now. You used to be, you would go on listing presentations to try and have, make appointments with potential sellers and obtain a listing and sell that home for those people. Well, now you're going to have a similar type of conversation, but with buyers. And with buyers, some of the questions they might be asking, because everything's in the headlines, everything's in the news. What are my options? When are things changing? How am I being represented? Will I have to pay you? And some of the answers to those are what you see on the right side of the screen. What should you know as you guide buyers through the home buying experience? You want to be able to interview with your clients. You want to sit out and set an appointment. So, when you go to the doctor, the dentist, or an attorney, you make an appointment. There's always some type of intake assessment. They have paperwork for you to fill out. Kind of the same thought process you want to have with buyers. You want to be able to ask them questions and dig deep into all the questions that you're asking them. With the buyer, some of the things that are going to change in the conversation for Michelle and I, but not necessarily yourselves, it's just going to be what you're going to start asking them is because you're going to tell them all of the things that you do for them as a buyer's agent. And all of these changes that the National Association of Realtors have, or everything that you hear in the media, it actually won't happen until July. So, but there's a lot of MLSs and brokerages that are putting things into place now. Why wait until July? Let's just start putting things together now. As far as I'm aware, EXP is probably one of the only brokerages that already has a presentation kit available for their agents. So that's huge and something you can be proud of. So what is a buyer representation agreement? So the agreement is actually an employment agreement. Think about when you went on a job interview, you dressed nice, you had a resume, you had all of the skills, all of the things that made you qualified for the position. Same kind of idea. Now you want to have that type of mindset and mind frame when you're talking with buyers. You want to ensure that they believe you are the professional in what you're doing. Even if you're brand new, it's okay, because you want to be able to rely on the information from EXP. EXP just recently put out some social media bits about being #1 in the top 500 brokerages, real trends. You can look on LinkedIn, you can Google it, you can, do a search. EXP has been around for 8 years. Find out the history about EXP. Find out the history of Glenn Sanford and why EXP? Why is it such a one of the fastest growing companies that's out there? We are Coldwell Banker used to be the behemoth of brokerages. I used to work for Coldwell Banker. Coldwell Banker has about 112,000 agents. That's a lot, but it doesn't sound like a lot when you use the word behemoth with Coldwell Banker. EXP has over 90,000 agents. We are fast on the heels of the number of agents that Coldwell Banker has. So we are huge and growing faster and faster across the nation. You can use that information as part of your skills and the leverage and the experience and the technology and the swiftness of a brokerage to add value to you when you're talking to potential buyers and sellers. You can let them know that you have all of this at your fingertips. What EXP is huge about, they're really big on supporting agents. They have so many brokers available, I'll say Monday through Friday, but we also have brokers available on the weekends. If you ever need one, you have a contract question, you have questions where no one's around. If I'm out of town for whatever reason, and I don't give you my number for whatever reason, you can't reach me to ask a question, you can always reach out to the brokers that are available all the time. You have contract questions, you have compliance questions, you have commission questions. There is always someone to talk to. And that beats hands down a lot of the other brokerages that are out there. So those are some of the things that you can share with your buyers. And what are the options for buyers? They do have options. They can pay for your services outright. You can let them know that you're going to try and get the seller to pay a commission. You're going to request it ahead of time in the contract. It used to be in the contract, we would, write the contract and we would say, let's see if you're first time buyer, okay, let's try and get you non-recurring closing costs, whatever that amount is, 2%, 1%, 3% of the purchase price. Whatever the lender says you are allowed to use is what we're going to ask for. Now we can ask for and we'll talk about sellers next week, but now we can ask for a lot more. MLSs are going to change their systems, so that way there's going to be a field in there that will say, it will show an amount that is available for credit. And whatever that amount is will be all the kit and caboodle that the seller will be willing to pay. So whether that includes the buyer's broker amount plus amount for a roof or an amount for flooring or whatever other credit, non-recurring closing costs, anything like that, everything's going to be balled up together, more than likely. It's still unfolding, but that's what everybody's talking about on the background. Will they have to pay out of pocket? Maybe. It's going to be hardest for first-time buyers or FHA buyers or VA buyers to be able to pay out of pocket, depending on their whole financial picture. Maybe the fees can get wrapped in the loan, maybe not. It's going to have to be discussed at that point in time. Let's see. Okay, what else should buyers know? They should have some clarity on the whole process. They have control over their decisions. And you can customize different paths throughout the entire process for them, providing them with world-class experience. You want to be able to have the conversations about compensation. You want to be able to let them know, why it's going to be better to work with you through EXP, because you are going to offer up details, clear and accessible information to your clients. You're going to allow information to the buyers so that they have informed decisions, right? You want to be able to guide them through the decisions so that they feel good about their decision every single time. You're always going to give the pros and cons of everything. It used to be they trusted us in general, they trust us to be able to say, and they'll say, well, what do you think I should offer? What do you think this home is worth? What do you think? And a lot of the time, agents would just share and give their opinion. It's okay to do that sort of. Now, at this point, you want to be able to say, well, here's the data, here's the CMA, we used to only do a comparative market analysis for sellers, but now we're going to want to have marketing information, data on what's sold, what's pended to our buyers, and say, hey, I know you want to offer 700,000 on this home, but let's look at the comps and what's sold, what's pended. Let's see what's active right now. Let's see what the competition is. Let's give you this information so you can come up with a price, and within a range. I can tell you it looks like it's between 650 and 750, and this house is listed at 700. Here's some information. You're always going to give them the information. They're always going to be the ones to make the decisions. So that way they could never come back and say, you told me to pay 700. You can say, no, I gave you the information. The ranging was between 650 and 750. You decided you wanted to offer on 700, etc. as an example, right? So you're going to be able to give them that information ahead of time. Let's see. What do we have next? This is verbiage. I love that EXP put this together. So the seller can pay the commission via concessions, as I was mentioning earlier. So when you're writing the contract on the purchase agreement, there is one section in there that just has lines. I think it's 3R, I'm pretty sure. 3R, Michelle, double check that for me. I think it's 3R. That is where you can ask for seller to credit the buyer $50,000 at the close of escrow to satisfy the buyer's contractual agreement with a buyer broker. So, and that's assuming the home is over $1 million. If you're asking for 50,000, that's quite a bit. Is it 3R?
So on page 3 are other terms is at the bottom, and then you also have, I don't know if you would do it here, G2, additional finance terms, like or where the seller
Yeah,
credit is.
either one of those sections of the purchase contract is where you can insert something like this. And this gives you the verbiage. The other thing, caveat to keep in mind when you're talking about verbiage and writing things on contracts or addendums, I will tell you right now, about 90% of the agents usually use the addendum for anything else or extra that they want to change about the contract. What I need to let you know is that the contract is between the buyer and the seller. Commissions should never be on the contract, although that might change now. I'm not sure. Normally, commissions would not be on the contract. Credits, however, can be. Anytime there's a change to the contract, there is a form, CAR form, California Association of Realtor form, AEA. That form is an agreement between the buyer and seller changing the terms of the contract. That form should always be used when there's any changes to price or terms that are on the contract, not an addendum. FYI, especially when it comes to your files in SkySlope with EXP, something will get kicked back to you, letting you know, hey, we need the AEA form, not the addendum, or if there's an addendum, great, thanks, but we also need the AEA to fix that form. So that's just an FYI to that. But I do love, oh, and the other thing I was going to say about the verbiage is whenever you're not sure, or you have a complex transaction and you want it to be very legal sounding with meat, right, to impact whatever you're trying to convey to the other side, talk with the managing brokers first to get the verbiage so that way you're covered. The last thing you want to do is put your lawyer hat on and try and make it sound like you're a lawyer when you're not. That's going to get you in trouble. Don't do that. Just caveat to that, a note about that. So the buyer consultation is the new listing presentation. And what you want to do is, demonstrate your value to the buyer and ask for their business. But how is this going to change? This is going to change with open houses. It used to be you're going to go sit at an open house to try to get new leads. Well, that open house thing is going to change a little bit too. If you're the listing agent, no problem. You can sit your open houses all the time. However, why this is going to become a problem is because there's the factor of agency, right? If a buyer comes in and they talk to Michelle and Armida, and maybe Mika has she has the listing maybe, and you guys come in with the buyers, that's great. Or maybe you both talk to Juan, the buyer, but nobody has a signed listing agreement. It used to be whoever Juan saw was given the information from. So let's say Armida, you gave Juan the information via MLS and an email. You said, here you go. Here's the information on the property you wanted to go look at, the open house. It's available this weekend. I can't go see it with you. Michelle says, oh, hey, Juan. She met Juan at an open house also. And she says, oh, hey, yeah, there's another open house next weekend. You both talk to him. It used to be whoever talked to him first, whoever had the most communication would be the one. And of course, if he was agreeable, let's say Armida had more of the communication with him and he was agreeable to working with Armida, well, then great, you're going to be able to represent him. Maybe you can refer something, maybe not, to Michelle. That would be a whole separate issue. Now, none of that is even on the board because of all of this NAR settlement. Now, who actually has a signed listing agreement, a signed buyer broker agreement with Juan? That's going to take precedence. Who's actually had conversations about the value? Who's had an appointment, an intake, a consultation appointment with Juan? Who's done that? That's going to take precedence over just whoever. Now buyers can have 10 agents emailing them, sending them properties. That's not going to be a factor in who gets to represent Juan. At the end of the day, Juan's going to get to decide who gets to represent him. Those buyer broker agreements are going to change also because it could be where EXP is going to make three different types of buyer broker agreements. We're going to have the CAR one, but EXP is going to layer on top of it another version where if it's, I'm just opening the house for you today, or another version where we're going to have a limited relationship where if I show you a house and I know you're shopping houses with, 3 other agents, but you buy the house that I showed you, then I will represent you and then we'll have a full-blown employment agreement with each other. That's going to be the new term and phrasing. So keep that in mind. Employment agreement with the buyer employment agreement, in addition to probably the buyer broker agreement. They might be the same. They might be 2 different things. Everything's still in flux. So just kind of keep all of that in mind. Okay. So if a buyer says, hey, do I need to sign this agreement? Can't I just work with multiple agents until I find the right property? Yes, you can work with multiple agents until you find the right property. However, if I open a house for you, I do need you to sign this form that just says, I'm just opening houses for you today, this one day. They're going to need to get used to signing something. If they don't want to sign anything, it's up to you to open the house for them for free or not. That's completely your decision. That could be your business model for representing buyers or not, but it's going to be something you want to think about. What happens if you're not satisfied with your services? Am I locked into working exclusively with you? One of the things that the NAR attorney had said, National Association of Realtor Attorney had said a couple weeks ago or last week was, he will do those buyer broker agreements, but he won't walk anybody in for 3 months or 6 months or 9 months. He's doing it more like a 30-day period, like a month to month, if you will, with a buyer. Yeah, sure, let's work together for 30 days. If we find out through our shopping at houses that we're not a good fit, no problem. We can walk away from this. I'm happy to tear this up. It's fine. It's not binding in that regard. But if we get into contract with something, then it will be binding and so on. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So that's the end of what I had that was prepared. And then next week, we're going to do seller conversations. But I know we only have about 9 minutes left or so. What questions do you have, if at all, from some of the slides that I went through kind of quickly?
So the platforms that you were mentioning, those are platforms that are already from EXP. I mean, because I've been hearing, I mean, I hear of other platforms as well that other realtors use that are out there, but like the Canva that you mentioned, those are ones that we're supposed to use because we're with EXP or that they recommend.
No, Canva is free to the public. You can go on there. Anybody can go there to use Canva. There is this, let's see here. Let me see if I can show it to you. Let me just go back to share.
For instance, I heard of this other one called, I don't even know how to, it's YLOPO.
Walu?
ROPO, ROPO?
No,
RIPO? Hmm.
YLOPO.
Oh, Wailopo.
YLOPO.
Never heard of that.
No.
I think
What's the
Canva's
purpose of
already-
that one?
I guess it also is,
It's a marketing CRM.
yeah.
Oh, so CRMs. Okay, so for CRM.
Yeah, but it's dual purpose. It serves for marketing, does drip campaign, and then it does have the capacity to like build you flyers and certain things. I had one small little tutorial on it, but yeah, guys, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so you'll find at EXP a lot of the agents, from what I've gathered, I will say about 75% of the agents, most of them use KV Core, and Michelle uses it a lot. So if you ever have questions, ask Michelle. I have used a bunch of different CRMs, although not that one. It's up to you. Whatever, look at them all, look at cost. KB Core's free. It does everything that you just mentioned. It's free because it comes with your, well, I won't say free. It's part of the $85 that you pay every
Yes.
month. That's that, and
Okay.
it's well worth it. It's well worth it, I tell you.
So those are
Shop
certain
now.
platforms that are in there.
There's one called Brivity that is really expensive. I think it's really expensive. It's like $300, $350 a month. It has every bell and whistle you can imagine. I tried it, but it had too much. It was way too amped up. If you're,
It was a little overwhelming.
oh, it was so overwhelming. They had a university just so you could learn how to use it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it could be great for those people that have huge volumes of business, our uplines, the people at the way top, those people could use those programs, no problem. But if you're just doing one or two, I would go as a brand new agent. I am very much do everything you can for free, save as much money as you possibly can. You don't need to blow money on marketing CRMs or anything like that. If you have something that's already for free, use what we have for free first, try it, see how easy or not it is for you. If you like it, great. If you don't, then you can make the decision to go pay for something. But I don't recommend paying for anything out the gate. Not
Okay.
when you have free stuff available. And it's good. KB Core is really good, really decent. You were going to say
Okay.
something, Michelle?
No, KB Core for me, I don't like being overwhelmed with so many things because it's very difficult, when you're overwhelmed trying to focus on what you're learning because you're always going to be learning something new. But I like the simplicity of KB Core because it doesn't make it feel overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Because I mean that all I need to see is the people's information and I can make notes and I can document every time and they'll keep showing me when they're looking at things. It'll alert me. That's all I need to know. Anything else, I could do on my own or figure it out. But that's what I like, the simplicity of that. And they also in KB Core, you have to pay for it, but they have a property boost. And when you become part of the MLS, all EXP agents will have all their properties will be listed under the MLS where you can ask an agent if you can promote the property. And I did Christina's, for example, this is a success story, I'll say. I posted for 7 days for $60. They create the ad. They put it out there. I don't even, know, I just know they put it together, EXP, and it attracts business to my website. and I actually got a lead out of the last one I promoted. And I just found out the other day we're in contract. So I'll get a referral fee out of that.
Yeah,
And
that was well worth that $60.
yeah, because I'm not making a lot of money, but it's better than no money, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So question,
Yeah.
so for instance, say that you have a listing and you go and do some videos or pictures or whatnot, what platforms do you guys use for that in order to, you know, will make that video obviously more presentable?
Michelle?
My son is a photographer and he works with me
Oh,
and
that's
he does
great.
the marketing. Yeah. And so what I do, I've also used another, it's just your personal person that you like out in the field that you get to know. Ask their prices, I used another guy and he did my videos, he did my pictures. They could do drone work and just make sure it's a price that you don't feel like you're gouged. Try them out, just let them know I want to see, but that I do my own on my end.
Yeah.
Okay.
And her son is doing, I mean, that's his new business, right? That's what he's doing.
On
There's
the side, yeah.
on the side.
Yeah.
So definitely tap into Michelle for use of her son's work. I used him for photos on and video on mine that I sold, and it was perfect. It was great.
Yeah.
But there are a ton of different photographers out there. And I think the photographer and videographer, usually they have their own little carte blanche of everything that they have on their websites. Like I'll do 30 pictures, 30 stills or 60 stills, whoever does the most for the less amount. Plus you can tack on the videography, or you could tack on the website, or you could tack on, the floor plan, whatever. You're gonna, there's a bunch of different local ones, and we'll get you a list of different local people you can check out. But
Okay.
yeah, you just want to be able to see, sometimes the backyard guy might be perfect. Sometimes, like I have and he's another single photographer over here on the Santa Cruz side. He's somebody I used to work with a lot years ago. He does great drone and photography. It just depends on the house type, style. Do you want to pay $600 for a video and photo package when it's just a mobile home? Maybe, or, you're definitely going to use the higher quality type of style with that, high priced photographer if you have a multi-million-dollar listing versus the mobile home. I love mobile homes, but come on, it's a mobile home.
Yeah.
Although it might be worth it to sell it faster. I don't know, it just kind of depends.
Yeah, and that's all pretty easy. Those things will fall into place, and then you can go on Instagram.
Right.
Like if you were to look at my Instagram, you'll see some of the videos I had done. Because
Yeah.
I'll do actual videos.
I'll send you her link too, so you can see.
Yeah, and that way you can see.
Mhm.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? We have about a minute and a half left.
I don't know. I think I think I think I'm still digesting all the information.
Okay. Yeah. No, there's a lot, and there's always a lot. Please feel free to reach out. I am always available. I'm going to add you to that. We have a group text, and Michelle's great. I love her for doing this. She always has, I'll call them random questions. I'll be doing whatever during the day, and all of a sudden a question will pop up in the group. Here's a question for the group, and it's either something she heard or is going through or just popped in her head and she's got a question. But it's great because everybody gets to learn from the question. And I like to hear what anybody's maybe answer is first before I give my answer. So, and it's a great way. I feel like we've had great engagement from
Yes.
everybody in the group that way. So
We're very interactive. We're here every week.
So what about social medias? What social medias do you guys use any social medias to
Before we
advertise
get
in?
cut off, I use Instagram.
Me
and
too.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For the most part, it's what you like best. But yeah, okay. So we have less than a minute. It's going to cut us off.
All right.
But yes, social media is fun. Facebook,